So when I was in high school, and I wrestled 2 or 3 years in high school, and we had this guy. His name was Noah Karunga from Africa. Him and his brother Adebayo. Adebayo and Noah Karunga moved to the small town of Oxford, Ohio. Their family, I think, were Seventh-day Adventists and straight from Africa. And he came out for the wrestling team. And so in high school, when you wrestle, you have these things called wrestle-offs. And that's how you find out who's going to be varsity and who's going to be JV. So we had this wrestle-off. We had this one kid. His name was Jason Garrett. He was such a good wrestler, right? So Noah comes in, this kid from Africa who's just they're wrestling at like 112 pounds. So both these guys are little, but Noah is just a little tiny muscle. There's not body fat on him anywhere. And honestly, when you're 15, 16, there's not body fat anywhere. Anyways. So he does the wrestle off with Jason Garrett. Now, keep in mind, year before, Jason was like a freshman, made the varsity, did pretty good. We're expecting great things from Jason his sophomore year. And Jason ended up going to state his senior year. I mean, he placed. He did really good. And going to state in Ohio is no joke. So, but we all saw it coming. Jason was a really good wrestler. So his sophomore year, which Noah was a junior or senior, but he never wrestled before, they wrestle off, and Noah pins Jason. And we went, what just happened? And I remember Jason was mad. He threw off his headgear. He was like, he ain't better than me. And then Noah was just strong. And he was kind of holding Jason around, and Jason couldn't do nothing with him. Similar to Ngannou. Reminds me of Ngannou. You can't do nothing with him. He's just a big muscle. To the point where ended up, in high school, everybody knows wrestling, you switch weight classes a lot. Boom, boom, boom. So Jason would go up to 119, or Noah would go to 119. They should have done to 112. Our coach was actually kind of smart. He knew Jason was really good. We got to have him varsity somewhere. And we knew Noah was going to beat people just because physically he was just stronger than a lot of people the same size as him. There was one wrestling match, and I'm not lying. Noah had no idea what he was doing, and the coach was telling him what to do. Noah was basically holding this kid down and was looking over at our coach and was asking him, like, what? Because he had an African accent. And the kid, he was just arms and legs moving, and he can't do shit. And Noah's just holding him. I go, God, that kid's so goddamn strong. And then the funniest thing about this kid, Noah Karunga, wrestling, we got these invitationals. Anybody's ever been to high school wrestling matches, you got these things called invitationals where you're there all freaking day. And if you win, you keep going. And if you lose, you got to go in the loser's bracket. Most of these invitationals are 2-day things. It's like you go Friday night and you come back Saturday and wrestle all day. So, no, we get there Saturday morning. We do the weigh-ins. I go to the locker room, and Noah's sitting there, and he's got this gallon of vanilla ice cream. And I go, so he made weight, and he just started eating ice cream. And I said, Noah, is that ice cream? He goes, yes. He goes, would you like some? And I was like, no, I'm good. And then I looked at him and goes, well, that's what you want to eat is ice cream when you're wrestling. You're bubbling, you're farting, gassy. I said, Noah, what are you going to do when it melts? He goes, then we drink it like milk. It was the most African thing to say to a guy. I remember thinking, I don't know, I just like talking to him because his perspective was so different than mine. And I was one of them guys in high school, like, if you were different than me, I wanted to know about you. Regardless, that's why I think I always befriended. Honestly, like, if we had a new black kid at our school, I always went and tried to befriend him just because I wanted to know about him. We had a boys' home. I always tried to make friends with the kids at the boys' home at my high school because I just want to know their story. I just listened because they lived in a different area than me and grew up. And I was always just like that kid. Just I don't know. I always wanted to just get to know people. So Noah was just the best because he had great stories what I could understand. Because sometimes English was a second language, and I was so lost when he was talking.